And we got a boom, 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 boom. Welcome to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. It's Wednesday Words once again on the 21st of February. Was that like the first day of Pisces, something like that? Or was it yesterday, the day before? Who knows? I think it was yesterday, the 19th and the 20th. All right, so what have we got for you lined up coming here? Well, coming up at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, one of the most exciting things coming up is this down here. Yes, Gwyn Ashton is coming on the 27th of March, so you need to get your tickets because this is one of the best blues artists in the world, if not Australia, well, definitely in Australia, if not the world. Let's begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I broadcast tonight. The Kamilaroi, the Banjo people, acknowledge their continuing connection to the land, and that sovereignty's never been ceded. All right, what have we got? A bit of a small show. It's just Skye and myself tonight, but we do have our matching t-shirts on, Australian Poetry Hall of Fame t-shirts. And you can get them on the website too, Australian Poetry Hall of Fame under the store. Also check out meanwhileinaustralia.com for other merchandise which supports the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. Right, let's begin with something from somewhere else, not Australia, but this is Lewis Carroll's The Jabberwocky. It's probably one of the first, not the first poem that I learnt to memorise, but it definitely was. I arrived in Nimbin back in 2017 and a good friend there, Viv Winston, said, "Do you know the Jabberwocky?" "No." "Oh, it's great. Can you go and write it down for me?" So I did, and I learnt it as well. And so here goes. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub-jub bird and shun the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time Maxome foe he sought. So rested he by a tum-tum tree and stood a while in thought. And as in oofish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went glumping back. "And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy! Oh, fabulous day, Calais!" He chortled with his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgabe. That's from Lewis Carroll, The Jabberwocky. And you might be aware that Monty Python made a movie called The Jabberwocky as well, but based sort of on that, really. All right, well, moving along, I get to meet all kinds of poets and people coming here to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Gyra. They just sort of randomly drop by, often because they're poets and they're interested in poetry, of course. And if, like you are, because you're watching this. So one guy that came through here just recently, Michael, or known as the, what does he call himself? The Madman poet from Oz. The madman from Oz, the Aussie bush poet. That's the handle he goes. So if you're out there and you're on Facebook, search the madman from Oz, the Aussie bush poet, and I will put a link to his Facebook profile in the description underneath. And while you're looking down there, why don't you give it a thumbs up, this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Tell me, what is your favourite funny Australian poem? I want to know, what are the funniest Australian poems? Because I'd love to be able to do them and memorise them, and make people laugh, because there's always serious stuff, but funny's good too. Anyway, the madman from Oz, the Aussie bush poet, dropped in, and I said to him, can I do some of your poetry on Wednesday night? And he said yes. And so this was his first one about his best friend, losing his best friend. I sat with death and had a talk. He decided that on I must walk, for I had nothing to lose but all to give. That's why he let me live. He knows all the greats before were all men who never used a sword, just a pen. It's a journey within we all must take to stop the world from being so fake. People fear to lose what they've acquired, but in reality, is what's required. I'm not talking about money and power, but how we survive every waking hour. There is no final solution. No one has to die, just an open mind to be awoken from the lie. I'm nothing but an ordinary man who has come up with a master plan to make this world a better place for every member of the human race, to eradicate all the suffering and all the hate. But alas, I fear I am too late, so I will wait for days to end, so again I can meet my one true friend. For I would love to give him a holiday, for he does his work without benefits or pay. Maybe he'll lay down his sickle, or just a day, or I can give him a gentle tickle, or just a day out of the dark and let him sit in the light at a park, so he can watch the children laugh and play, and he may be happy for just one day. So yeah, lovely piece of poetry there from the madman from Oz, the Aussie bush poet. So check him out, the madman from Oz, the Aussie bush poet. All right, now I'm going to move on to some Banjo Paterson. But it's Banjo Paterson with a different rhyme and metre. So it's not your traditional rhyming couplets or A-B rhymes, doggerel kind of stuff. It's a little bit more, they're in 5-line stanzas. This is called Fur and Feathers. The Emus formed a football team up Walgett Way. Their dark brown sweaters were a dream, but kangaroos would sit and scream to watch them play. Now, Butterfingers, they would call, and such like names. The emus couldn't hold the ball. They had no hands at all. But hands aren't all in football games. A match against the kangaroos they played one day. The kangaroos were forced to choose some wallabies and wallaroos that played in grey. The rules that in the West prevail would shock the town, for when a kangaroo set sail, an emu jumped upon his tail and fetched him down. A Whistler Duck, as referee, was not admired. Oh, he whistled so incessantly The teams rebelled and up a tree he soon retired. The old marsupial captain said, "It's do or die." And so down the ground like fire he fled and leaped above an emu's head and scored a try. Then, shouting, "Keep it on the toes," the emus came. Fierce as the flooded bogan flows, they laid their foemen out in rows and saved the game. On native pair and darling P they dined that night. But one man was an absentee, the whistler duck, and their referee had taken flight. Yeah, Fur and Feathers by Banjo Paterson. Got another Banjo Paterson here about a wombat called Weary Will. The strongest creature for his size, but least equipped for combat, that dwells beneath Australian skies is Weary Will, the wombat. He digs his homestead underground, he's neither shrewd nor clever, for kangaroos can leap and bound, but wombats dig forever. The boundary rider's netting fence excites his irritation. It is to his untutored sense his pet abomination. And when to pass it he desires, upon his task he'll centre, and dig a hole beneath the wires through which the dingoes enter. And when they block the hole to strain with logs and stones and rubble, bit wombat digs it out again without the slightest trouble. The boundary rider bows to fate, admits he's made a blunder, and rigs a little swinging gate to let Bill Wombat under. So most contentedly he goes between his haunt and burrow, and does the only thing he knows, and does it very thorough. Good old Weary Will, the wombat. Now, a more recent bush poet from up this way, up towards Tenterfield, or Glen, somewhere that way, was Keith Garvey. I'm not exactly sure where he was from. I did know once, but he passed away now, and this is from his cattle camp collection, The Ballad of the Bagman's Watch, and this is about a watch that ended up with a wombat. Beside his swag the old man lay, beneath a shady gum his dirty hair was lank and grey, his breath befouled with rum. His gummy optics seemed to glow, bespeaking thirst unslaked, and in the creases of his throat the grime of years was caked. He asked me if the time I knew, and when I shook my head, in deep disgust he waved a hand, like the claw of something dead. He chewed a gum leaf, spat it out, and sadly wagged his tongue. I always had a timepiece, mate, in days when I was young. I used to have a big gold watch, a presentation job. The chain was nearly 2 feet long, with emeralds on the fob. I staggered off from Shanley's pub one day and fell asleep. Close by, there was a wombat's den with tunnels dark and deep. My dreams were of a luscious girl, a Sheila of great note, when suddenly a stealthy hand feels inside me coat, and I reckoned that it was this girl caressing me with love. Then I awakes to warning croaks made by the crows above. Believe me, mate, I sprung up quick. I thought I was insane, an old buck wombat standing near, and he's got me watch and chain. His eyes were winking bright with greed, and he scratched his hairy jug. You could have fairy read the bludger's thoughts I've found a first-class mug. A grisly grin was on his dial as the plunder he surveyed, just like a master criminal when a haul of cash is made. I made a rush to tackle him just as he turned to flee, but I miscued and banged me head against a leaning tree. It was after dark when I come round. My skull was filled with pain. Gone was me dream of faithful love, and gone me watch and chain. But oft, in later years I heard of a wombat fella's saw with a gold chain round its neck and a watch held in its paw. But one last thing I assure you, mate, now that me tale is told, wombats, like Sheila's, seem to have an eye for gain and gold. So steer clear of drink, don't dream of love, for me story makes it plain. You can lose your soul and heart and head, and your bloody watch and chain. Yeah. Well, all right, well, I'm going to invite Skye up here in a moment. Come on up, Skye. We've got, what have we got happening here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame? Well, on the 6th of April, we've also got Fiore Musicali, the Armadale Chamber Choir, coming back to Gyra. That's really super exciting. So check that out. The website will be updated as more details come to. Oh, well, also don't forget the Hillgrove Hotel on the 2nd of March. The Hillgrove Hotel over there, yeah, we've got a threesome going over there, myself, Steve and Skye, for bush poetry over there, yeah, so excitement. Here we go.
I'll start with.
Excuse me, I'm walking in front of that.
Oh, yeah, that's better. Okay. Who's it? Bill Scott in a second poetry, second Australian poetry book, collaboration with poets. So Bill Scott's Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt came from the. Oh gosh, I'll start that again. I didn't do that very well. Thunderbolt came from the Hawkesbury River. He was a bushranger. He was a rover. Made all the rich folk shudder and shiver. Wore fine clothes and lived in clover. Riding high on a thoroughbred colt, Badman, bushranger, Thunderbolt, Urella, Armadale, Torrington as well, Yarrawick Mountain, where the farmers dwell. Saw him ride till a constable in blue caught him and sent him to Cockatoo. But he slipped from his cell and his iron chain and wandered free in the bush again. He wandered far and wandered wide. Nobody knows just where he died, but on Yarrawick Mountain, when the wind is high and shadowy clouds go drifting by, riding tall on his thoroughbred colt, comes the ghost of Thunderbolt. Comes the ghost of Thunderbolt. Alright, now I've got a few funny weird ones. This one's Miss Strawberry Nasty from Eric Rolls. Please take my shoes off, Miss Strawberry, I said. Miss Strawberry took me by the ears and pulled off my head. Please take off my jumper, Miss Strawberry, I said. Miss Strawberry took my left arm and removed it instead. Please take off my trousers, Miss Strawberry, I said. Miss Strawberry took my legs off and I had to go to bed. Miss Strawberry, I asked her, will you put me on? Alas, there was no answer. Miss Strawberry had gone.
How weird.
It's a weird one.
Very great. Yeah.
Okay, let's. This is a cute one. A Sad Song, it's called, by Lilith Norman. Tom was very bad at sums. He used his fingers, toes and thumbs. Tom said, I couldn't be much badder. I think I'll try to use an adder. He went to the shop and tried, but the adder bit him and he died. Adder. This one doesn't even have a heading, but anyway, by Michael Duggan. Rhinoceros stew tastes like glue. Giraffe casserole sticks to the bowl. An emu roast tastes like burnt toast. While pecan fried turns the inside. None of this feed encourages greed.
Oh, can I do one that it's like that? It's a full line one. No, you stay here. Stay here. Oh, no, right. I don't have to eat a dog or cat, but if I could if I wanted. Think about that. I don't have to eat a baby or a child, but I could if I wanted, but it would make people wild. I don't eat my fingers, fish fingers or chicken, even though they're finger licking. So why would I eat pork or beef when I can get complex protein from head, seeds or beans? Yep.
That's a good one.
Thanks. I thought it goes with that one.
It does. Compliments it. Okay, the last one. A little short rhyme, horrid rhymes from Max Fetchin. When Auntie Louisa lit the gas, she had the queerest feeling. Instead of leaving by the door, she vanished through the ceiling.
What was her name?
Louisa? Oh, who?
No, that was it again? Again.
Auntie Louisa.
Oh.
When Auntie Louisa lit the gas.
When Auntie Louisa lit the gas. What happened to her again? She went to...
When Auntie Louisa lit the gas, she had the queerest feeling. Instead of leaving through the door, she left. She vanished through the ceiling.
Okay, so she's exploded, isn't she?
Yeah.
I wonder if she lit her own gas. Don't light your fart, Louisa. Oh, well, I'm not going to go on with my own poems yet because I've still got some other poems from other poets to read. I got one more from Keith Garvey, and then I go on to the serious bit of the night with Harry Hooton. Poet of the 21st century, but he lived in the 20th century, like last century. And that's what his book's called. And it's what I'm going to read is kind of really prophetic, actually, because he really critiqued both or government. He was a bit of an anarcho-technocrat in one way, and he critiqued, well, he really did critique socialism and communism as well, and a bunch of things. A Pot of Curry by Keith Garvey. And actually this kind of complements the one the one we just did, yeah, in a weird way, but not. 500 head, the drover said to the English new chum from Surrey. Fattened out west where the grass is best, and they're all going into the curry. The new chum gazed with a face amazed as the drover lit up a durry. No cooking pot would hold the lot. By Jove, to make a curry, said the drover. Mate, they'll face their fate to feed both white man and Murray. Today they feast each happy beast. Tomorrow they land in curry. And leaving the chum standing doubtful and dumb, the drover said, without any hurry, attending his job, slowly headed the mob down the stock route that led to Cloncurry. Yeah. Fading hoofbeats. Silent, the old stockyard tonight, neglected beyond repair. But under the moon's increasing light comes a sound in the still night air. Fading hoofbeats softly emerge from days of an era gone. Drummed is the bushman's final urge, but legends will linger on. Legends of durable women and men who battled famine and drought. Stories of faith and fortitude when the frontier was pushed far out. People who parried hardships thrust, stubbornly standing their ground. Claimed by the years and gone to dust where the fading hoofbeats sound. Fading hoofbeats where stars look down on the echoes of Australia's past. Echoing soft in the sandhills crown and acres of black soil vast. Over the ridges of box and pine, where the west where the dust rack blows, north of the Queensland border line and south where the Murray flows, eastward by valley and frowning hill on tracks that were cold and long. Fading hoofbeats, I hear you still at night when the memories throng, and horseback men from days gone by, silent wraths in the grass, under the dome of midnight sky. Fading hoofbeats past, goaded by poverty's painful push and a limitless land far flung. They conquered the wide Australian bush and went to their graves unsung, gone to the unmarked and unhallowed ground, by progress pushed aside. But at night, when the fading hoofbeats sound, still in my heart they ride. The Fading Hoofbeats, also by Keith Garvey. As I'm reading that, I'm thinking, you know, that would be a fantastic poem to make into a film for the Australian Poetry Film Contest. Imagine that. Now, there you go, filmmaker, that could be really good. Definitely, it's got such imagery as so many of our bush poems do. So, the Australian Poetry Film Contest is now open for submissions all the way up until the end of September or October for late submissions. So get onto it, because we are really offering great prizes this year, and we're also running a GoFundMe to fund the prizes. So whatever I raise in GoFundMe funds becomes the prizes as well as the prizes. So it's the second year running. It's a new way to engage people in poetry, is the Australian Poetry Film Contest. There are 3 categories: as Best Australian Poetry Film, Best Australian Bush Poetry Film, and Best Student Poetry Film as well. So your opportunity to get recognised as a poet filmmaker out now, the Australian Poetry Film Fest, and the link will be in the description below, along with the GoFundMe. So if you would like to donate, which would be really appreciated by all the entrants in the film festival, because the money's going to them, you can also check out the description below. All right, next. Harry Hooton was a cult figure in Sydney libertarian circles when he died in 1961. And aged 52, he was scorned by the literary establishment of Australia. His influential magazine 21st Century helped bridge the gap between the new writing in Australia and in the new writing in the US and a conservative Australia. Hooton's philosophy was self-styled anarcho-technocracy, power over things and the dictatorship of art, which was expressed in both poetry and essays published throughout the 1940s and 50s. This selection by Sasha Soltow marks the first appearance of Harry Hooton in book form in 25 years. This book here was published in, let me just check on that for you, 1990. So I've chosen a couple out of these, our three actually, of Harry Hooton's, and I'm going to start with the very last poem in the book, Words of Love. For each man kills the thing he loves. Well, it's about time we ceased to love man and started to love things, inanimate matter, and killed, waged wars on it. Christ said to the slaves, love one another. And the slaves and their masters said, love us as he loved us. And they all loved to pray and pray, P-R-E-Y. And they all loved one another to say, softly, gently, love one another. And the dear little waves snap one another, softly, gently, saying to each other, oh, love, broth, bother, brother, up on the beach. Canute said to the waves, go back. The lamb craves of the tiger, his pity. Christ calls to the graves, to the dead. And biology waves whatever is said. Cries cannot lift the dead. Love is not raised by words. Words are the murmurs of grass as they brush together. And the grasses on graves whisper, whimper, push one another softly, gently, quiet out of breath, talking to death. I love my dinner, and the shark loves me for his dinner. I don't love the shark. I cannot return food for evil. Now, I'm partial to sardines, in tins, dead of course. But I cannot eat a horse. He works, and is so tame, and dies of love the same. And all dear little mammals and birds and mice and mullet and men eat one another with words, surely, softly saying with each suck mouthful, sweetly sap to one another, gut, swine, tapeworm, life, louse, leech. Oh, friends, love matter to death. Let it feel your breath. Love anything other than life. Love silk, stone, steel. Let clay pray to us, the potters, for grace. Life cannot be loved by life, like must be repelled by like. Light must move, illume the dark, as day loves and lifts the night. As the stars in space do not stare at the other stars, at the suns, but stir cold planets to birth, as the artist must turn from man to lift matter to life, or love it to death. Yeah, so it's about this material world we live in, so loving it so it all goes away. Yeah, because it's, yeah.
Loving it to death.
Yeah. Now, this is one that's really kind of indicative of his libertarianness, like in his beliefs of a small government, not interfering in our lives, and also the importance of the artists too. It's called The Masses. The politician leads the masses. The educationalist teaches the masses. The priest consoles the masses. The psychologist studies the masses. But the great man has nothing to do with the masses. He is the masses. And yet, the great man is an artist. And he has everything to do with the masses, but the masses of wood, stone, steel, which cannot feel. The non-human masses. Interesting thoughts. Now there's one more here that I just gotta do, which I've just lost. Is it Law and Disorder? I had it marked. I did. I really had my poems marked here. There's something for Henry Lawson that's he's written, and I really wanted to find it, and I don't know what on earth I've done with it. Oh, The Perfect State. All right. Yeah, okay, so just because I read out Henry Lawson doesn't mean I agree with his political opinions. Just because I read out this guy doesn't mean I do either. They're poets, and I read poetry because I'm celebrating the poetry of Australia and their works. But I really love this. The Perfect State by Harry Hooton, written for Henry Lawson, poet of democracy. Sort of it's about a kind of a dystopian future that kind of reminds me a bit of some of the things that are going on in the world today with our technology, our World Economic Forum, etc. The Perfect State. Give us the brand new future where every man spies on his mate, where our children grow up perfect pimps for the sake of the perfect state, where poeticos stir up the dead and politicos stall the quick, where psychoanalysis drives men mad and medicine makes them sick. Where everyone is a comrade and pays his union dues, when the bosses are revolutionaries and the police and lawyers too. The red flag waves respectably by the good red, white and blue, where our fathers are all rebels. Then I'm a rebel too. We hated the bloated capitalist once and his blackleg scabbing rat. We fall for his smug successor now, the Labour bureaucrat. Yeah, with his hammery, sickly emblem that waved against the czars and that now flaps its foul device for flabby commissars. I wonder what Henry Lawson or his mates way back of Burke would think of the conscript unionists now moaning their right to work, or what the toll puddle martyrs are thinking amongst the gods of the slogans now backed by plutocrats. They forged against fearful odds. To hell with my fellow members of this obscene monolith. To hell with the goose-step yes-men of the socialistic myth, where many are the rulers and men who think are few, where every man's a Führer. Well, I'm a rebel too. Really quite profound when you can really, I can draw so many parallels with what's going on at the moment in the trying to reset whatever. The oversize of bureaucracy in not just Australia, well, Australia is just, it's my personal comment, is just ridiculous. All of those fat cat bureaucrats getting paid to suck eggs. And I won't use my general metaphor, which is, well, I will, having sex with a dog. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's just a personal opinion anyway. And I'm allowed that.
Yeah.
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 Overgoverned. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, well, I've got a few of my own to finish off with for the night. Yeah, one of the things that Indian fella in America was talking about, he's not up for running anymore, was how many, hundreds of thousands or thousands of bureaucrats he'd get rid of from America. And I've said it before, if I had my way, I'd certainly abolish the states and abolish party politics. And I was talking to Ali today about this country and how with the blockchain technology we could certainly have a participatory democracy where people could propose like laws or propose down laws and have proposed referendum, and it would be safe and secure and non-hackable as well. And one way is by elimination. You put up proposals for social things that you want to good, whatever you don't want or you do want, and you have, say, 5 examples, and you eliminate them one by one. So each time you vote, that's the one that doesn't get any votes gets eliminated, and then you have a discussion about the remaining ones, and then you have a vote again, and slowly you work out what's the best option for a society through elimination. So just one way. All right, well, let me finish off with a little bit of my own from this week. And, well, yeah, all right, a little quatrain kids one, funny one. Gecko soup and cockroach tea, fly pies, grasshopper steaks, and a glass of rat weed. Slug ice cream with cane toad jelly is the feral food champion's brekkie. Jelly and brekkie doesn't really rhyme well, but I don't care. And all right, I've only got 2 left, and I think I'll do the Elon Musk one last. Yeah, why not? And this is called Ointment. Be this, be that. Do or do not do that. It is a weak man who makes excuses for poor behaviour. Sometimes the strong too. I do not intend to be a saviour, but I do love to savour the flavour of human behaviour. Listen to words, self-described and heard, recorded in the morning and dawning and in a warning. Trust. No issue is black and white, and there are more than 256 colours too, from dark to light, love from fear and fright. Different cultures have different cultural norms on what is and isn't polite, wrong and right. The ointment, respect, not judgment. And finally, well, did you know about the vaping laws in New South Wales? Okay, well, you're not allowed to vape anywhere that you smoke.
Oh, what?
Yeah, where smoking is banned in public places, you can't vape. So you're not allowed to go into a business vaping, you're not allowed to vape within 4 metres of a door, you're not allowed to vape in a pub, you've got to go to the vaping smoking area, all of that stuff. It's good, yeah. Right, why did I bring that up? Because they come in disposable cartridges. And I know, like cigarette butt litter is a horrible thing, but it's even horribler to see a disposable cartridge of a vape on the ground. And that's what I saw in Sydney.
Yeah, but I feel like it's more likely that people are going to throw those in the bin rather than cigarette butts, because...
Yeah, it's big and plastic. Yeah.
But also...
But people who pollute their bodies generally don't care about polluting the earth either. Often I find,
But I think
throw it out the window, poison
butts
yourself.
have been like...
Oh, they're the worst.
It's been a norm just to throw it.
I know.
And get rid of it.
Well, even when I smoked, it wasn't a norm for me. But I understood,
Yeah.
Did you ever smoke?
Yeah.
Oh my God! You too, yeah, I know. 2 fit people, 2 fit healthy people. Yes, we used to smoke. Yes, we have our vices. Oh, I have all my vices. Elon Musk bought the sun, which annoyed almost everyone when he deposited a large amount into my bank account. I sent him the title for the sun with a note. This is the only one. You must never let the sun go out, or the people will go without. Veggies, light, bread, fruit. Being in the total dark isn't beauty. But if it goes out, here's the catch. You can just relight it with a match, or push and hold the pilot on, then press the Piezo button. There's one last thing, I said. Cover your belly and white head, because it's a painful lesson to learn when fat, pale men get sunburned. It's a big surface area, and he's really white. He needs to either chug a mushroom or get out more. But if he's going to go up near the sun to turn it back on, he needs to make sure he's got good protection, because he could get a really sunburned belly. Here's a joke for you. Elon Musk and his wife are having a baby, and they it's like thinking about, well, we go and get an ultrasound and find out what sex it's going to be, so we can sort of think of a few names. Mrs. Musk said this to Elon. He said, "Nah, I've already got it sorted. If it's a boy, XY. If it's a girl, XX." Oh, I'm just twittering away here. You get the joke, X is, of course. Okay, thank you very much. All right, thank you for joining me. Yeah. I only thought of that joke today, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Twittering away.
Yeah. No. It's like, yeah, what would happen, if he was pregnant and they didn't want to have if he was pregnant? Yeah, well, he looks pregnant. Seriously. Yeah, look, body shaming's all right, except when it's all about the way. Not. I mean, you can't body shame someone because they got funny lips or funny legs or funny hair or whatever, because they can't help that. But I guess shaming someone about their weight, shaming anyone's pretty shit thing to do. But people, but anyway, blaming anyone else outside you for your internal emotional state is very emotionally immature. So, So, being offended is immature. Grow up. Good night. See ya. And don't forget to subscribe.
Thundercloud has spoken.
Boom.